Have you ever wondered what the difference is between film and digital black and white photography? Well, I only recently figured this one out. Let's get to it. Look, I'm gonna jump right into the disclaimer right off the bat. I'm a film and digital photographer. I love all my cameras, and I'm not biased towards one or the other, and I try to be objective in the things that I say on this channel. So, with that, years ago we were all shooting film, and then digital came in and kind of swept us all off our feet. And I left film like most people. But when I came back a couple years ago, I realized I'd been staying away from black and white photography, and I didn't really know why. But I had a revelation. I realized that I couldn't get black and white digital to have that look that I wanted. I wasn't quite sure what it was or what was missing, but then I had a moment and I thought about it. And it's really, there's something about film and black and white photography that just seems natural, it just pops. And part of it is the 3D imaging that film tends to lend in the image, whereas digital doesn't really do that. Now don't get me wrong, a black and white digital image can look great. In fact, I captured this one a little while back and I absolutely love it. And I love it in color too, but I shot it in color and then I converted it in black and white. When I was at the scene, I was thinking about how that would look in both color and black and white. Now when you're shooting film, you don't have a choice. You load up a roll of black and white, you're shooting black and white. But I think if I could go back to this image, I would say, well, if I had a choice to shoot one or the other, I would shoot black and white because the conditions just lend themselves to black and white photography. The contrast, the subtle tones, everything in the image, I think just screams out black and white. And most people I've shown this to, they prefer the black and white image. So making a digital image a black and white photo is pretty simple, but it's not the actual process of converting it, it's getting the tones right. And I think a digital image, it always looks punchy compared to film, and film just pops. It just has a 3D appearance to it that I can't seem to replicate in digital. And I think that's the thing. And I think that's why film black and white really stands out against digital black and white, because most of us have grown up and seen these black and white images throughout history. Historic events, Ansel Adams' work, but there's a quality to that black and white that we associate with what black and white should look like. And I just think it's hard to do that with digital and easy to do with film. So I captured these images a couple weeks apart right here at this location. And the film image, it's got a 3D appearance to it, while the digital image, I really had to work hard to get it to look like I wanted. And again, I think I was trying to get that film look that we've all associated with what film should look like based on the photography that we've seen of historic events. And the trouble that I have is making my digital images replicate that. But more importantly, why am I trying to replicate it? You just have to do a lot of work in post-processing to get that digital image to look like the film image. For years, I just couldn't put my finger on it. I was shooting digital and I just couldn't get my black and white images to look the way I wanted. With the exception, really, of this one. I mean, there might have a few in my portfolio that I'm pretty happy with, but for the most part, I mean, when I grab a roll of film and I head out and I shoot film images, it's just mind-blowing how happy I am with the results that I get, with almost no post-processing on these images. And I think that's the takeaway. Everyone says embrace the grain. Well, you know, the truth is grain is a flaw in film, just like noise is a flaw in digital images. But we say embrace the grain. Why? It's an inherent part of film. But I think what it is that's just the way people have perceived what a black and white image should look like. And it has grain. And noise is different from grain. Noise in a digital image and grain are just not the same. In fact, many people try to emulate that grain look with presets and other things in their digital images, which, I mean, why? You know, I mean, if you really want the film look, this is what I say. Get your film camera and go get it. Truly, with film black and white photography, you really can't tell when the image was captured, how long ago it was. It's a timeless image. And this may also be true of digital photography as well, but still, there's something about the film that really stands out that says, hey, look, here, check this out. And it's different. Even these two images right here, when I look at them, they're similar, but I know the difference. And I'll tell you, I think above all, it's that 3D look that the film has that, at least for me, really stands out. With film, the tonal transitions and contrast seems to be more natural. And I don't know why that is. I mean, digital captures a really good image, but film tends to just really lend itself, and perhaps it's just the way film is constructed versus digital, but there is a difference. And I think trying to pretend there isn't a difference, you know, we may get away with it on a few occasions, but for the most part, I'm going to stick with the film. So one thing that really stands out with digital versus film black and white photography is when you're printing. I'll tell you what, there's a noticeable difference when I print these two images. And I'll tell you, this film image right here, it just very little post-processing. I mean, right out of the camera and right onto, you know, maybe compensate a little bit for the paper that I'm using. But this matte paper, and I love black and white on matte paper, just really just pops. That 3D stands out, and I like it. And this digital image, I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like some of the differences in the composition, but as far as the tonal ranges, the contrast, I don't know. I just, no matter what I do, I can't make it look like the film. And maybe that's, you know, maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe it should stand on its own. And I think it's a good enough black and white image, but, you know, good enough just isn't good enough for me. So if you're into printing, it's a real treat with black and white photography. Different papers, man, they have a different look when it comes to digital photography. Some of these images really lend themselves well to a textured matte, while others look fantastic on some type of glossy paper or even a metal print like this one. I mean, man, they really stand out. So I think it's all about the composition, the feeling, the mood, the tones of the image. And when you put it on print, you know, sometimes I might print things on 2 or 3 different papers to find the right look. But when you do, it's a real treat. Look, I realize a lot of this is subjective, and these are just my opinions. Remember, I'm a film and digital photographer, and I'm really not trying to be biased. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, I think I get better results in black and white photography on film versus digital. Honestly, I think digital cameras can make fantastic black and white images, and I don't want to make this about film versus digital, although I did make a pretty good video a little while back about 35mm versus digital photography. I'll leave a link below. But anyway, it's not about that. It's about which black and white image looks best, film or digital. And in my opinion, it's hands down, film's the winner. Regardless of whether you're digital or film, or maybe you shoot both, grab your camera, head out, capture some black and white images, and see for yourself. Anyway, if I don't see you down the road, maybe I'll see you on the trail.